Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Trump's phone call later, where they were discussing defense ties, they were discussing trade talks, and also energy ties, which is very important for the two nations here. They also discussed how India and US would continue to work together to actually bring more stability and peace globally. So that is one important point that we'd like to highlight here. Now, this is the third time that the pair have spoken to each other after US's Washington actually imposed tariffs and penalties on India back in August this year. They increased the tariffs by 25%, and then they put an additional 25% penalty tariff on this tariff hike, which was a punitive measure rather, just because India had good trade relations in terms of oil purchasing with Russia. Now, a delegation led by U.S. Deputy Trade Representative Rick Switzer and other Indian officials was also held here in New Delhi last week. And we'd like to mention a point here that despite all these trade talks going on between the two nations, Trump had actually threatened about imposing more tariffs on Indian rice to help their own farmers back in US. Let's take a look at what else he has said here.
Why is India they have to pay tariffs? Do they have an exemption on rice?
No, sir. We're still working on their trade deal. So
yeah, but they should be dumping. I mean, I heard that from others. So you can't do that.
Now, meanwhile, US is also accusing India about dumping this rice, but India, on the other hand, is not ready to accept these accusations, and they are calling it out. Now, they are also saying that rice exports, which include basmati rice, which goes to the US, are actually a more expensive variety than the non-basmati rice export. Let's take a look at what other reaction India has given to this statement.
We don't see a prima facie case of dumping, and as far as we know, the U.S. has not started any anti-dumping investigation either.
Despite the threat coming from the US, now there are a few people, US lawmakers, who are suggesting that the steps that Washington is taking against India are not in the right direction. Now, this is a very important point to highlight here. They are calling Trump's tariff illegal and economically damaging. They are also highlighting that this would impact the relation between India and the US in the longer run.
All right, our correspondent right there is Rujuta Pete, live from RT India. Thank you.